I wanted to kind of preface our discussion here a little bit. Is September, as you probably already know, David and Beth, is National
Preparedness Month.
Mm-hmm. It sure
and
is.
So having you on is the perfect, I think, kickoff to this month since it starts tomorrow. We're going to be talking a little bit about first aid and probably first responders. Without me stealing the thunder, for our listeners and for Shane and I, because we love hearing the story. We love stealing thunder. Yeah, we're thunder stealers. If you could tell our listening audience first of all, what AMP3 stands for, because I know it has a meaning, but why you guys got into this, what drew you to doing AMP3?
So AMP3 stands for the Austere Medical and Practical Preparedness Project. That's AMP-3. And we actually got into preparedness for two reasons. We had two major disasters happen to us in a very short period of time. So in 1982, we were living up on 10 acres in kind of the middle of nowhere, and we had a 100-year flood, 24 inches of rain in 24 hours. And if you live in the mountains, that's a lot of water coming down at one time. And we had a major flood taking out our road. I mean, we had down redwood trees. It was pretty crazy. And so for a week, we were kind of living on our property with no power, no water, only the food that we had. And we also had like an outdoor shower, and we had a composting toilet. So we were kind of living off grid before off grid was cool.
Wow. I'm jealous. Yeah, well, Shane and I are looking at each other like, that sounds pretty awesome. Could you please come back to Utah and sit down and talk with my wife?
Sure.
Sure. Try and help me convince her to live more of this type of lifestyle. The prepper term, I've been able to trace it back to World War II, but it wasn't like a commonly used phrase. It wasn't a commonly used term. It's kind of evolved. It really was just being self-reliant, being prepared. Well, then Doomsday Preppers TV show came and hijacked it, made it more weird. Made us all crazy.
Yeah.
Well, made us look crazy. It didn't make us crazy. I was crazy like a fox. Right. And people have very short memories. And so if you consider yourself a prepper, you're weird. You're crazy. You're out of touch, right?
Right. Well, I guess so. But, I mean, we're pretty normal people as far as I'm concerned.
Like the work that you put in, like homesteading, gardening, taking care of livestock, like the work that you put in yields results.
Exactly.
Right? Unless there's a disaster that stops it, it will yield results. You put seeds in the ground, you fertilize it, and you water it, you'll have plants grow, and you'll have food grow. And there's something that's just fantastic about being able to put your hands and your feet into the dirt.
Oh, totally.
And actually grow something there.
Yeah. So the property that we lived on that had the flood was actually 10 acres, and our vegetable garden was a good 3-acre size. Just vegetable garden. Yeah, it was huge. And so we were pretty self-reliant back then, and it wasn't really... it was cool for us because we loved it, but it wasn't the norm.
And now it's kind of trendy.
Yeah.
Like, now everyone's like, oh, are you homesteading yet? I love that because it's a whole new group, and they're learning, and they're trying different things, and but this is what our ancestors, what you guys did, and I want to get to, and Shane wants to get to, is living that lifestyle every day.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but man, it's well worth it.
Yeah, it definitely takes work.
But it's good work.
But it is good work.
Yes.
It is good work.
Absolutely. Talking about a 100-year flood.
Mm-hmm.
And then in our second segment, we're going to get into more the emergency communications aspect of it, which you guys do both extremely well.
Thank you. We try.
So for those that want to follow you guys, you've got both AMP3 and, I'm going to mess it up, USNRC?
USNERDOC. So USNERDOC.
Have a website for that, or is that just the YouTube channel?
Just a YouTube channel.
David has his YouTube channel, but because he was in the Navy for 11 years, that was his kind of call sign in the Navy.
USNERDOC.
Yeah.
Right. It was my password.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope you change those. Now everybody knows.
Now everybody knows.
So you've always had kind of the feeling of responsibility, feeling of patriotism, feeling of helping others, and so
Yes.
Is that where this drive came?
Well,
create AMP3 and help other people. Like, what was the driving force in creating that company?
Okay, so David would make this little first aid kit called an IFAC, an individual first aid kit, and he gave that away to everybody. When he was in the Navy, when he was on the fire, because David was a fireman for 10 years before he went to medical school, before he went into the Navy. So he would make this little first aid kit and give them away. And I said, he had his YouTube channel, and I said, you should make those and sell those and make one of those YouTube things and promote called videos and promote that on that YouTube thing. And he's like, yeah, no one would ever buy them. And I said, well, how do you know? Why don't you build 10 and try and sell them and see what happens? Well, he built 10. He did a little video. Hey, I'm putting these IFACs up on my YouTube channel, and the first 10 sold in an hour.
I really need you to come sit down with my wife. I love your attitude. I have these same types of ideas, and it just doesn't seem to work out the same as the two of you have worked out on this business of yours. I love it. Well, Beth's an anomaly. Like, okay.
She is an anomaly.
You're like one of the sweetest people I know, but you're also like, get it done.
Get her done.
Get her done.
Thank you.
So that's the conundrum that is you. Like, you usually aren't going to find someone that's as driven as you are, but that's also so sweet and kind. And,
oh, that's
bubbly.
nice of you.
You guys are nice.
Like, we met through PrepperCon.
Yep.
Oh, man, 4 years
4 years ago, yeah.
Oh, my gosh, this lady's cool. And then I didn't even get to meet Dave until, like, we're closing. David, Beth comes up, she's like, you got to meet my husband. You got to meet my husband. I remember that because I was just like, yeah, cool lady. Yeah, husband. I'm like, oh, yeah, you taught this tutor class. It's like, that day, like those 2 days, I'd been on probably 6 hours of sleep for the last 5 days. So it was like the end of the day on a Saturday. We just closed the doors at 8 o'clock. It was like 9:40.
I don't know how they do it.
And I was in that like beginning to go loopy, lofty, wherever. Like my brain's like
beginning to go or already gone.
And I was just like, man, these people are cool people. Like these people, like great people. Like this is that. Having that interaction with you and having that interaction with the people that were saying thank you for this event, that was like everything I needed to be able to do it again.
Yeah. Favorite event because it's well organized, and the people who run the event are, Scott and Jesse and, the whole family.
How they do that.
Yeah, and how you guys do it and put it together, and it's just amazing. And we actually had friends come from Oregon to the last PrepperCon, and they loved it.
Awesome.
Absolutely
loved it.
It's very
kind of you to say it was organized, because from behind the scenes, it seemed like I felt like I was in the middle of a paintball fight, and that I was standing there in my underwear just getting shot.
Getting pelted.
I felt completely vulnerable, and for it to survive was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. What we do is, we sell products, but more important to David and I is really the education part of, showing somebody a skill or sharing things.
Absolutely.
And, we just love it.
Break. Let's pause that for a second. Let's really get into the showing people the skills.
Okay.
When we get back from this break. For those of you listening in, hang tight. We're here with Beth and David Pruitt with amp-3.net and USNER.doc. So hang out, stay back, come back. We'll be right back.
So we are currently being interviewed on Prepper Talk Radio out of Salt Lake City, Utah, with Scott Stallings, and he is one of the hosts of Prepper Talk Radio.
Radio for the ready-minded with Scott Shane, and we've got our guests from AMP3, Beth and David Pruitt, and we started talking about kind of why they got into this, and man, the show goes so fast. I want to jump into first aid.
Okay.
Why does every family and every individual need a first aid kit? From your perspective, from your opinion, from your experience, why is that so important? Why is everyone forgetting to do it?
So that's a great question. Mainly because accidents happen, and you don't get a warning like today at 3 o'clock someone's going to get injured. So this is just part of that self-reliant, be prepared mentality, and a good first aid kit is just one of those many bricks that you put in your wall of preparedness. And we got into this because when I would look at first aid kits that you would buy from the store, they were always inadequate. They were lacking certain things, or they had cheap items that were not reliable. And you have to realize that that kit is something that you're going to put your, that's going to save somebody's life or help somebody in a time of need. That's not when you want to have something cheap that doesn't work well.
David, explain to us what components should be in a good quality first aid kit.
Sure. So I think, the first thing that we all think of when we think of first aid is, of course, bleeding. So you need to have some items to take care of bleeding. In my mind, you need 4x4 gauze pads. You need a pair of gloves, one to keep yourself safe and also the person you're going to be helping safe. You need some gauze, roller gauze. Ideally, I think it's good to have a trauma pad, or I tell people when we do those classes at PrepperCon, you don't need to spend a lot of money to do this. You can go to the dollar store, Walmart, Target, get maxi pads and 4-inch ace wrap, and you've got yourself a good pressure dressing. You want to have
an Israeli bandage.
And exactly. Ideally, I like an Israeli bandage, but if you say I don't want to spend the money or I don't have that kind of money, then you can improvise. And the Israeli bandage, its heritage is drawn from a trauma pad or a maxi pad and a ace wrap bandage. I think along with that, you want a good pair of sturdy scissors. EMT scissors are probably the best, but anything sturdy would do. Some adhesive tape. I'm giving away all of our secrets here.
Well, and you can build it. I mean, here's the thing, though. Like,
build
you
it.
can go build this, right?
Build it, yeah.
And it'll take you a while.
You
have to go check different places to get the quality stuff. You can't just go down to like a Dollar General.
No,
You're going to get the quality. It's not going to be. You can't just go down to Walmart because the quality's not there.
You're going to be going to
You've got to go to medical supply to get this stuff.
Right, and you're going to be going to several stores to put all this stuff together. Duct tape, as you guys know, is an important thing to have in a first aid kit because you can do a lot of things with that. And then some sort of splinting material.
That I love to build all the components myself until I get to the first aid kit. And I want to trust someone that I trust to do it, because I'm not as medically inclined as I'd like to be. And so I've taken some first aid classes. I've done CPR certifications, and I keep missing your suturing class. So the next time you're in town, that's one of my goals.
Well, we got to get you in that class.
I mean, there's so many things like that you could need or may not need that an ER doc's going to have a much better grasp on that than I am, and so. That's one of the things I love about it. And you guys have a sale going on right now.
We do.
It's like 15% off site-wide.
Yep.
So if you guys go to amp-3.net, and the promo code is SUMMER at checkout, you'll save 15% on everything. Now, David, I noticed that there's one thing you didn't say that is not in this kit, or maybe it is, but you haven't said it. Excuse me. Are Band-Aids, right? This is not a boo-boo kit. This is a trauma kit.
Right.
And I think... when we think of first aid, we think, okay, Band-Aids and some Neosporin, right? And some of those things, which are nice to have. They're good to have.
Yep.
But when it comes down to saving a life, it's these larger, like you said, the gauze, the 4x4s, the Israeli type bandage, the trauma stuff that are going to save somebody's life.
Correct. And I do think you need a good boo-boo kit, without a doubt. You need some Band-Aids, you need the antibiotic ointment. What we were talking about is the life-threatening injury, trauma, and stop the bleeding. So another good thing that's happening nationwide right now, and you can Google this, but there's a nationwide mandate to teach the layperson how to use tourniquets. And I think everybody needs to know how to use one, how to improvise one, and have one readily available. And you can go to, I'm doing this from out in the middle of nowhere right now, but I think it's stopthebleed.org. And you can, there's a mandate to teach the layperson how to use a tourniquet. And there's a lot of myth about tourniquets, but you could save somebody's life with a tourniquet and learning how to do it. So not only having the kit, but the other thing that goes along with a good first aid kit is what you were talking about earlier, and that is some knowledge and education.